Alright, this should be a fun drone video. This is the cabin on 15 acres right up by the Mule Shoe Conservation Area. So this is literally just a couple hundred yards from over 2,000 acres of public land that you can generally use for hunting. And they've got campsites, and the Little Niangua River runs right through it for over a mile through the conservation area. So you've got fishing, you've got canoeing, kayaking, all that good stuff just basically right at your doorstep. And that's the cabin. That is the front of the cabin, believe it or not. Kind of an interesting design. It's kind of cool looking. It's got that vinyl siding on three sides, and then the back. The back is the main issue with the cabin. It looks like they just never sided the back, and so it's got plywood and OSB and whatnot back there that just wasn't covered, and so it really had deteriorated. Whoever buys it, I mean, if you're going to salvage the cabin, and I think you probably would, you need to at least get some house wrap on that, but house wrap and siding would be ideal. Okay, so we're looking easterly. By the way, the property, the cabin sits on 15 acres. Beautiful, beautiful land. We're looking southeast over the property. It borders both of those county roads that you see. Obviously, electric is there, electric to the cabin. Now we're panning south, and that's going to be County Road 96. Property sits on the left, on the east side, on the left side as we look south of County Road 96. And then just a couple hundred yards up on the right is where that conservation area starts. You can see the river in the conservation area. So very, very close to the property. We see we see deer out here all the time. Deer and turkey too, but mostly deer. So now we're just kind of going around getting a look at the property. The access obviously is good because you've got County Road access on two sides. The driveway comes off of County Road. I said County Road 96, but I was confused here. That's County Road 525 where the driveway comes off. So I misspoke there. Sorry about that. So now as we're looking westerly, you can see the cabin with the driveway that goes to County Road 525. On the right is County Road 66, which borders the north side of the property for about a quarter mile. And actually, I think what we're doing here is we're going to zoom down and see if we can't see the tiny creek that crosses northerly over the property. Probably going to be more of a wet weather creek or a seasonal creek, but generally when we're out there, there's a little bit of water in this tiny creek. So this is directly on the property. By the way, the bright white trees are sycamore trees. They're gorgeous. And there is a little water there, and you can't really see it, but to the right is the culvert that goes under the county road. And there's a power line there as well. You can see the gravel in the creek bed. So just a tiny bit of water in that little creek bed, but that's neat to have that literally on site, on your property. As we look westerly, the green trees that you see, because this is a wintertime drone video, the green trees are going to be either cedars or pines, and the trees without leaves are generally the hardwood trees. If you look closely, just a few of the hardwood trees are starting to bud out. In the Ozarks, it's generally the dogwood trees that come first, and they're the bright white. You can see a few of those down there. The dogwoods are visible really only for about a week in the Ozarks, and then when the other leaves start to come out, it's harder to pick out those dogwood trees, but they're neat to see with the bright white flowers or whatnot. Okay, so now looking northerly over County Road 525. The property, whoever picked the building site, however long ago, did a great job. It's level coming in off the driveway. I guess it slopes down a bit where the house is built. And then you have an area, if you see where the red truck is, directly in front of that, at some point somebody excavated an area probably for a big garage or a shop, maybe for a parking area, I don't know. But you'll see that better from the ground. The cabin itself has a metal roof. The little structure you see off to the left is just an old outbuilding. The outbuilding's on a concrete slab, which looks pretty good, and the roof on the outbuilding looks pretty good, but the walls are OSB or plywood that haven't been covered, so the walls are in bad shape. But it wouldn't take much to redo that little shed, because the walls, the roof and the 2x4s in the walls look okay. Someone would just need to put some sheeting on the outside. Such a gorgeous setup. I mean, watch the ground video, but when you drive in, you're basically driving into your own private park. Got the big hardwood trees and open area as you drive in. Gorgeous, gorgeous setup. 15 acres is a good sized property. Obviously you can hunt on your own property, of course, but you've got about 2,000 acres of public land, which is, you know, less than a minute from the property, really. And there's the Little Niangua River that's within the Mule Shoe Conservation Area. And we've got a couple minutes left in this video. We might be doing a flyover of part of that conservation area, which would be pretty cool. So the Little Niangua flows easterly toward Camdenton and helps to form the Lake of the Ozarks. That is a beautiful section of river. Generally it's quite clear. You can basically look in and see the fish. So it's popular for fishing, for canoeing, like I said earlier, for kayaking and tubing or floating. I guess we're using those terms interchangeably, floating and tubing. Although you can float on a raft too. So that's a pretty good shot of the conservation area. There's a total of only about 15 or 18 tracts at the Mule Shoe Project, so it's quite private, with a long private driveway leading back to the house. Even in the wintertime, you'd have trouble really seeing the county road from the cabin, because you've got those large hardwood trees. Special property. The area is great. It's very rural, but you're not very far out of Camdenton, which is basically the major city at the Lake of the Ozarks. If you're into the outdoors at all, having that conservation area so close is just fantastic. And the Mule Shoe Conservation Area is kind of a hidden gem in the Ozarks. We've talked to many people who have spent their whole lives in the outdoors in Missouri, and they just haven't heard of the Mule Shoe Conservation Area. But it is beautiful. And if you go south on that County Road 525, it literally only is 200 or 300 yards, and you get to the conservation area, which starts on the right side of the road. So when we talk to hunters, a lot of times hunters, if they can find property adjacent to public land, then that's what they want. But it's also very common for hunters to tell us, hey, we want land that's close to public land, but we don't want to be adjacent to public land. So that'd be the case on this property. The reason being, opening day, and during hunting season, there can be a lot of people in and around that public land, and if you border it, you might have who knows how many people, milling about the edge of your property, or sometimes even on your property, which can really mess up your hunting prospects on your own property. So we definitely have people who would prefer to be close to public land but not touching it, and that's the case here. The reason we're zooming in on that little spot right there, those are grapevines. So those are active grapevines that we discovered. In this video, there won't be any grapes. It might be just the start of some leaves. But we found those grapevines there. Back to the right in this photo, there's a couple more grapevines that someone had planted. And we do know that those do bear fruit, because in the summer we have pictures of the beautiful grapes from those grapevines. So if you've ever wanted to own a private vineyard, you can literally do that here, because you have the established grapevines. It'd be a small vineyard to start with, but That's how they all start. So there's the house. Definitely do the check out the ground video where we walk through the house. Again, it needs a ton of work. This is not a house you're going to move into. It would need a ton of work first. But it's been recently used as basically a hunting lodge and for storage. So there's some value there. But anyway, that's it. Check out the website. It's rare that we have structures. Almost everything we do is just raw land, but in this case we happen to have this little cabin on 15 acres. So complete owner financing on everything we sell on our website. If you have any questions at all, just let us know.